Sitting at the same old workplace. What's the point of this chase? To just bite our old tail. Wishing that something would change, that we could turn back to.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to TTML Division 2. We are here tonight for round 9 of the championship of Season 3, and we are taking in the Mexican Grand Prix from the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. My name is James Hay, going to be taking you through the stream as your lead commentator, stepping into the breach as Daniel Hoggard's connection has sadly befallen him. But joining me in the comment box, it's like the old days of Division 2. It's Mr. Ivor Bryn. Mike, how you doing?
Yeah, it's feeling rather nostalgia right now. A bit nostalgic. But yeah, looking forward to this one after last week, which was an absolute cracking race. I can't wait for this one to see if they can up the levels.
Yeah, remember what happened last week, of course, in Singapore when Dan and Mike covered it. Tom was absent, of course. We've got the graphics back tonight. Gary won out on track for LMN in second and TDB finished in third on his debut. What did that do to the standings? Well, Scuba leading the way on 169 points. Irish domination currently in Division 2. Not often we say that. Gary in second on 151 with Matt Tibos in third on 127. Alonso fourth on 103 with Jorgen fifth on 100. B. Morgan in sixth on 90 with Noisy in seventh on 88. Lemon in LMN in 8th on 83. That'll be a common theme throughout tonight, don't worry. Sway in 9th on 75 and Isotopic in 10th on 65 points. And Mike, coming into tonight, Scuba obviously leading the championship by 18 points over Gary. What can Gary do to try and break that gap and bridge it slightly going into next week?
For Gary, he needs to build on the momentum from last week. He was under insane pressure towards the end by LMN and TDB, who pitted late and was on the mediums and flying towards the end. He needs to build on that momentum, get a big result here, and hopefully bridge that gap in just a little bit more. But advantage right now still in Scuba's court.
Yeah, Scuba has got the advantage. Gary hoping to try and come back around the 17th turn. Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. Looking down the rest of the standings as well. Corboy in 11th on 61. Ryan in 12th on 53. There are plenty of reserves in this bottom half of the grid. Jonas 13th on 48. Volaconga in 14th on 41. Falk 15th on 35. With Trippy Jeff in 16th on 30. Wesker in 17th on 26. Nathan in 18th on 25. Vapor TDB in 19th on 20. And AJ in 20th on 16 points. But the more important factor on this screen is Red Bull have got to outscore Alfa Romeo by 9 points going into tonight to wrap up the Constructors. Can they do it?
It's going to be interesting, but I can assure you that the Red Bulls have been formidable this entire season. And I personally think the Constructors is going to be wrapped up tonight. I personally do.
Yeah, it seems very likely, doesn't it? I mean, 9 points they've only got to outscore Alfa Romeo by. And I mean, looking at both of the guys out on track, both the teams, they've been really consistent so far this season. The All-Irish, the All-Irish and British pairing, I should say, of Scuba and Matt Tibos, first and third in the standings. Alfa Romeo 5th and 7th with Jorgen Noisy, the old Dutch team there for Alfa Romeo. And Alfa Romeo have really got to try and hope that Red Bull have an absolute stinker of a race coming into tonight here in Mexico. We are about to get going, though, within the lobby. The 30-second countdown is about to begin. Mike, I am going to throw it over to you. 2 questions. What can we expect going into qualifying, and who's your top 3 for qualifying?
I'm expecting a very close grid in qualifying, maybe separated, the entire grid separated by less than a second. I'm gonna back that right now. Uh, Top three, I'll say York for pole, Gary second, Ryan third.
Very interesting indeed. We'll see if that prediction tries to come out very soon indeed. But 10 seconds awaiting us now within the lobby. And hopefully all of these guys out on track. We've got 19 drivers within the lobby, which is a very good turnout as always here in Division 2. And we cannot wait to bring you the action, of course, out on track as we hope we will provide you with a bit of normality on a Thursday night. But without further ado, let us get started. Let us go into qualifying. Welcome along everyone to Season 3 of TTML. We are here for the Mexican Grand Prix, Round 9 of the Championship in Mexico City, Mexico. 3 compounder tyres are available for the guys out on track tonight. Those are the C2, C3 and C4 compound, softs, mediums and hards to you and me. And this is one of the tracks where, of course, overtaking is at a premium, and hopefully we're going to get some really good action, of course, out on track. Myself and Mike Edwards taking you through the action. Let's have a look at the track then. 4.3 kilometres and then 2.6 miles, 17 turns, 3 DRS zones, 1 down the start-finish straight, 1 down towards turn 4, 1 on into the baseball stadium section at turn 12, and all of those circuits will, all of those points on track will promote a hell of a lot of overtaking out on track and a hell of a lot of battling, hopefully, out on track as well. As we now go into qualifying, dead on time, and one thing that we can notice, apart from Division 1 where it was quite overcast actually, it is beautiful blue skies and sunshine here in qualifying.
Yep, the sun is out and shining down here in qualifying. We're still waiting for the first cars to come out on track. I believe we got the Williams of Gary, I believe that is, just coming out now.
You are right, yeah, Gary down there. There he is. Don't know why I scrolled past him, but there we are. Gary is coming out the pit lane, and he's going to be the first man out on track, and he's on to a set of soft compounder tyres, and we'll get the tyre graphics up for you to the left-hand side as well. So Gary then the first man out on track on an out lap, and he'll be hoping to try and get some retribution with Scuba, 19 points leading in the championship coming into tonight, or 18 points I should say, leading into the championship tonight. Gary will be hoping, though, for a really good performance. He's been the king of qualifying, I think, so far this season in Division 2. Mexico should be right up his street.
Yeah, from previous experience of watching Gary around Mexico, he seems to have a bit of a fondness for this track. But as we all know, track limits here can be extremely crucial, especially in this S section that Gary's coming into right now. So easy to just step over the boundaries and invalidate, especially on the exit right here, as you see right there. He just picks up the invalidation.
He does indeed, but hopefully it's not this and next lap invalidation, because that would really ruin his chances to try and get an early lap in here in qualifying. There are other guys out on track, Matt Tibos, Isotopic, Scuba, the like. Scuba interestingly out on a set of mediums by the looks on that graphic to the left hand side. But we are going to, well, press the wrong button first of all. Now going to go on board with a lap here around the Autodromo Manos Rodriguez, on board with Gary as he now runs down in towards turn 1, opens up the DRS. You can reach in excess of 210 mile an hour running down the straight here, and the Irishman in the Williams now approaches turn 1. He'll be hard on the brakes just after the 100 metre board. Dead on the 100 metre board, turns in for turn 1, then through turn 2, and then through turn 3. Very nice, quick through the apexes there. Now he opens up the second DRS zone on this lap, on the run down towards turn 4, and on the run down into the first sector split. And the first sector is actually not looking too bad so far out on track, 27.7 from Gary so far. He's now through turn 4 and 5, and then through the double right through turn 6, and then towards turn 7. Yeah, that was a double right, but it's counted as one corner. Who knows? 7, and then through the S section at 8. Not sure if he's invalidated just on the exit of the curb there through turn 8. Now through 9, 10, 11. They come at you like Mike Tyson. If he hasn't invalidated then, he certainly has invalidated now out on track. Through the middle sector, though, we'll continue to ride on board with this lap on board with Gary. But through the middle sector, it's not showing up on the TAS system, but I'm sure we'll get that confirmed in just a second. But now Gary coming around the final corner. I flicked the wrong person by mistake. So now he comes around the final corner, fights the car, and he comes into the pit lane. Absolutely typical.
Yep, unfortunately Gary did invalidate...
Oh, Matt Tibos! Hard into the wall, coming through turn 3. Sorry to cut in there, Mike, but goodness me, I just caught that. Matt Tibos got caught on the outside curve, coming through turn 3, and he's lost both end plates out on track, and his lag looks quite bad as well as Ryan is at the first time out on track.
Then we got Isotopic to the line now, and it's 13.5. But Gary invalidating on the entry into the SS at turn 7 there. So you did catch that on the stream. He did invalidate it, and for some reason it did come up from me saying it in the task session, saying it was invalidated. I'm not sure why it didn't for you, but you got Scuba now to the line. That's a 15.
Yeah, 15 flat on a set of medium compounded tires. You would imagine around here it's something like 1.1, 1.2 seconds, I think, between the mediums and the softs. Certainly on average around this track. Some guys can go quicker, some guys can go slower than the average around here. But our championship leader has set a lap in. Matt Tibos is then back into the pit lane. York, I think, is on a lap now, coming through turn 7, and now through the flying S section. They come at you like punches from Muhammad Ali back in the 1970s, and now York coming through turn 11, and now towards turn 12. Appropriately, car number 12 as well out on track. He's purple through the middle sector. York's middle sector actually not looking too bad at all. 26.8. That was. He's got a Renault just in front of him out on track. I think it's Jonas might be on a lap, or B Morgan off on a down lap, but fighting the car through there as York now comes out the final corner. Alonso went third with 113.6. York comes across the line and he goes third with a 113.591, and he is only 9,000th of a second of Isotopic, and he's in behind Ryan as well by over a tenth.
Yeah, I think that snap of oversteer there in the final sector really cost him. He had a good chance of getting on provisional pole there.
Did indeed, and yeah, you're just catching that snap of oversteer, as you said, out of the baseball stadium section, and then through in towards Peraltada at turn 16. That's the only corner I can remember off by heart, by the way, so you'll be hearing a lot of that tonight, as that Carl is on a lap coming through turn 6. In the Racing Point, he made his debut, of course, last week, I believe. He's certainly got a full-time seat now within Racing Point, and now comes through the middle sectors, and that comes through turns 9, and then through turn 10, and then towards turn 11. There was a yellow flag in sector 2 briefly. That is now gone, as now Carl comes out of the middle sector. On a set of soft compounded tyre, it says he is not purple through the middle sector, and Carl now looking through. 28 flat in the first sector wasn't too bad. 27.6 in the middle sector wasn't too bad either. But Falk has gone to the top of the times with a 113.3. Cole coming out the final corner now through Peraltada, and now through 17. Comes across the line, and he goes 9th with a 114.8. But the main talking point, Falk going to the top of the timings.
Yeah, Falk putting in a fantastic lap there. I'm on board with TDB, who is now coming into the stadium section. It said for me he was purple in the middle sector. I'm not sure whether that'll stand up.
Yeah, he's on a good lap.
We come through the final corner now. What's this going to be for TDB to the line? And it's going to be 13.7.
Typical commentator's curse from me there, saying it's a good lap, and then he goes 8th with a 113.727. But he's only 4 tenths off the back of Falk, and there's plenty of improvement to be found from these early laps out on track. I think LMN is out on a lap time as well. He's now coming towards the S section. We'll ride on board through this S section, so he'll fly through turn 7, then through turn 8, through 9, then through 10, and then through 11. Honestly, it comes at you so quick. If you haven't driven around here before Mexico, try so. But don't end yourself up in the wall like I normally do. 54.9, I think that was, I saw on his steering wheel. 27 flat through the middle sector for LMN, as he now comes out towards the final couple of corners. Through the baseball stadium section, and now through Peraltada at turn 16, and then through turn 17. I thought he was going to end up in the pit lane there. Comes across the line. He goes 6th. Good lap time that by LMN. 113.617 from the man who's recently joined, I think, the esports team within Contest of Speed.
Yeah. It looked like he was just struggling on a bit of traction coming out of the final corner there, so definitely a bit of time in the final corner he can definitely gain and improve on. As we got Helapi Boy, I apologise if I've absolutely butchered it. That's going to be a common theme as well.
Yeah, Hapuli Boy went 10th with a 113.792 in the fin. I'm on board with Matt Tibbles actually coming out the final corner, really fighting the car. The Red Bull now comes across the line, and he goes 9th with a 113.705. Look at how close it is actually between Alonso all the way down pretty much to TDB. There's just over 1/10 of a second, pretty much dead on, between Alonso and TDB. That's 5th down to 10th separating, and adding in the Isotopic and Jorg, that's what, like 0.2 of a second separating 3rd down to 10th?
I mean, my prediction of everyone being within a second with each other, like, you know, go back to prediction.
Ryan goes quickest. Yeah, 113.1 from Ryan. The Ferrari goes out on top. Falcon second. Isotopic in third. In the meantime, Gary has just started up on his laps, and now let's ride on board with him as he approaches towards turn number 4 out on track. And we'll see his first sector split. Not looking too bad. 27.7 through the first sector. A man that's just ahead of him actually out on track. Giannis coming through the middle sector is quicker through that first sector. Now coming through turn 6. Yellow flag in sector 1 as a Ferrari getting out of the way. I think that's Ryan on his down lap. Now Gary comes through turn 7, then through turn 8, the king of qualifying here in Division 2 as he now comes through turn 9, through 10, and then through 11. Really neat and tidy through there. Sways middle sector, by the way, 27 flat. He's just invalidated actually coming out the final corner through the baseball stadium section, so it'll be interesting to see in comparison to Gary, 26.7. Gary's on a really good lap here. Can he try and find the time coming out the final couple of corners? The Irishman now with Ryan and Falk out on top. Where's he going to go? Is he going to come across the line on top? No, second, and he's just in behind. Ryan actually out on track. 0.02 of a second separating Ryan and Gary, and they are excelling out on track.
And there's a classic pun. I have missed it.
That terrible pun. Terrible pun. There's a Haas off in the middle sector. I'm not sure if that's Wesker. That might be off in the middle sector. No, Wesker's actually coming around the final corner. Comes across the line. And he goes 14th, 114.6, the Austrian.
Yeah, it was Alonso, I think, just getting out of the way of racing point of, I believe that's Carl, who's on an outlap. So, bit of respect there from Alonso.
Jonas just ran on board with him. I just flicked on board because I thought AJ was behind him actually out on track. But Jonas, 18th, is just invalidated coming at it through turn 11. There's a Williams just slightly off there as well. I think they're both on down laps though, both Williamses, Gary and Falk. One of them's on an out lap actually in Falk. As now Jonas comes around the final corner, inevitably he's into the pit lane. Let's ride on board them at the bris of AJ. And AJ has had really good qualifying in the past. I remember when we covered it in Spain. Me and Dan, I think, covered it in Spain when you weren't available. I think you fell asleep that week. AJ had a really good qualifying session, and he was the king of qualifying last season pretty much as well. Where has his pace got in terms of qualifying, as Jorg, I think, has just gone up into 4th?
Yep, Jorg with a 2/10 improvement, and I'm not sure. There's a lot of ups and downs that have happened over the past few seasons. We had Alonso in season 1, absolutely impervious, and season 2 wasn't as much to it as Gary in sector 1, over a 10th, well, almost a 10th up, I should say. As he actually, sorry, that's Falk. That's Falk was on board with the wrong Williams.
I was going to say, Gary's in the pit lane, so it'll be a masterful stroke if he's going a 10th quicker through the first sector. Falk now coming through turn 9, 10 and 11, and the Dane really trying to push the limit, and he's pushed it too much coming through the middle sector. And actually, in terms of his middle sector, he's currently 3rd, and his middle sector, 27.5, was the fastest out of everyone through the first sector. He's now backed off coming through that middle sector, and his middle sector actually... it's just my task system again is loading quite slow. The Falk's middle sector, he's now backed off this lap. He might prepare actually for another run here.
Yeah, it might be worth, but just want to put too much on those tyres. He cuts over into the pit lane.
He sped round the final corner, thinking he's going to go out on another lap, and then he must have got like a warning light possibly with his fuel. And then he's back into pit lane. That was a bit weird, that one. That's a topic, by the way, when 5th. We missed that with a 113.482. He's coming back into the pit lane. LMN, I think, is just starting up on a lap. 113.617, over 0.5 of a second off Ryan, who's out on top. Ryan on top, Gary 2nd, Falk in 3rd. LMN, though, I think, if I'm not mistaken, has just started up on a lap as he now comes through in towards turn 4, the AlphaTauri, of course, opening up that DRS through the first sector to 27.7, so he's there or thereabouts in terms of the first sector. 2.10 slower than Gary through the first sector. Now through turn 6, and we'll try and alternate with our camera angles here on this lap. Zellman now comes through turn 7, and we'll pick on board. Now through 8, 9 through 9, there's the yellow flag in sector 3, that's the McLaren of think Hepuli Boy getting out of the way there. As now, Matt Tibos goes third with a 1:13.249. LMN in the middle sector in comparison to Matt Tibos' middle sector. Matt Tibos' middle sector, 26.9. And LMN, I'm just trying to find him, was 27 flat. So he's actually only a few tenths off on this lap time. LMN comes across the line. He actually goes fourth in the end. He's not too far off Matt Tibos. Found a lot of time in that final sector. 1:13.3, and he's only 7 minutes off the back of third.
Yeah, very close between LMN and Matt Tibos there. I was just on board with B. Morgan, who was the Renault ahead of LMN in the final sector. Unfortunately, invalidated it with just 2 corners to go. He was up on his time though, so B. Morgan looking like he can improve, get within the mix.
Grab yourself the popcorn. Oh, go on, sorry.
I was going to say, with just under 4 minutes to go in qualifying, pressure is on. I mean, my prediction, I said Jorg pole, Ryan second, Gary third.
Well, Jorg needs to get on pole then, doesn't he? He's down in sixth at the minute, 1:13.3. I was just about to say, go and grab the popcorn, because there's hardly anybody now out on track for the final laps here in qualifying. There is a Ferrari leaving the pit lane, and it's the wrong Ferrari. That is Isotopic, I think, leaving the pit lane. In fact, is it? Somebody's leaving the pit lane anyways. There's a Williams and there's a Ferrari, but the cameras are not picking up on it, which is very strange indeed. Gary is one of the ones out on an out lap, and it was Ryan who came up behind him as well. Actually, quite interesting tactic this could be, because they're first and second. They're more than a tenth ahead of Matt Tibos in third. Gary could give, if they're close enough, am I right in thinking Ryan could get pole, and Gary could try and pull away himself on a good lap time if they were to use each other up as a little bit of a towing system, essentially, out on track?
I mean, it's going to be a thing. It's going to benefit Ryan more than Gary with the tow. But they were former teammates with each other at the start of the season before Ryan had to take a small break, so maybe the old teamwork may come back out again.
It may do, yeah. Gary, you can see, is slowing up now coming through turn 9. And Ryan is going quicker than him. They're probably, I would say, about, 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds separate each other out on track. So there's enough slipstream there, but Ryan's actually backed off. So just scrap completely what we're saying. Gary, though, is going to go on board with us on a lap. As he now comes out the baseball stadium section once again, and now lines up on this lap. Now comes out of turn 16, then through turn 17 at Peraltada, now comes across the line to start once again on his lap. He's got 200s to find on his nearest rival. Let's see if he can do it out on tracks. He now opens up that DRS, runs down in towards turn 1 again, already reaching in excess of 210 mile an hour, running down in towards turn 1, breaks dead on the 100-meter ball, gets the car turned in through turn 1, then through turn 2, and then through turn 3. Really neat that. That was quicker than his first lap. That I've got to be honest with. As now he comes through the middle, the first sector split, and we'll see how his first sector compares. 26.744 was his first sector, 27.7 I should say, was his first sector, to 27.6, so his personal best already by 200ths of a second down on track. Now coming through 4, 5, and then 6, and then up towards turn 7 here, and this is where it could make or break a lap time. This S section can make or break a driver's career, as he now comes through 8, 9, 10, and 11. Beautiful through there, really close to the apex as well. There's a car to the right hand side of him out on track. Not sure who that is. I think it's a Renault getting out of the way. Through the middle sector though, he's improving again. 26.7. This is really good from Gary. Can he go quickest out on track as he now comes in towards Peraltada at turn 16, then through 17, catches on the inside curve. That just rubs away a little bit of speed. That might have just cost him. Comes across the line, and he goes second, and he's only 0.02 of a second off. Ryan behind is invalidated on his lap time. He's going to get another crack of the cherry. But Gary, in the end, that caught on the inside curb through Peraltada at turn 16. That's what cost him.
Yeah, and Gary's teammate behind, Falk, also doing what Ryan done, also invalidating on his lap, so he's going to go again. But now we have to find out who is going to take pole position here. We got 15 seconds left in qualifying. You see cars coming from the final sector, trying to make it. I believe that's the AlphaTauri of LMN now coming for the final corner.
He's safe.
The last man.
Yeah, 2 seconds to go. We came across the line. AJ's going to be one of the first, I think, to set up on a lap. I don't think Cole's on a respective lap just ahead of him, but AJ now coming through the middle sector. There's a middle sector. There's a Williams off in the middle sector. And is that Gary, I wonder? Gary, I think, has actually just backed out the way, so I don't think he's going to improve out on track. AJ now coming around the final corner. Let's see if he's going to improve up the field. Comes across the line. He doesn't in the end. AJ goes 15th. Purely Boy goes 7th with a 1:13.446. And these times are going to come thick and fast, so be prepared. B. Morgan now across the line. He invalidated out on track. Looking in behind, Isotopic is coming through the middle sector. Ryan on a lap. Is he coming through the final corner? Is he going quickest? No, he doesn't. Ryan does not go quickest, even though it was a purple final sector. As Yo goes 3rd, and he's so close to your prediction coming right. Falk is on a good lap as well, I believe. Now coming through. That was Noisy going up into 4th as well. Everyone set a 1:13.1 out on track. Falk comes across the line. He sets a 1:13.1 and he goes 4th. Goodness me. How's LMN doing out on track? He's in 7th. Scuba into 11th. He's going to be starting on a set of mediums, I would think. LMN now around the final corner. Can he take Paul off Ryan? Comes across the line. And it does! It's a 1:13 flat right at the death, the last lap in qualifying, and LMN, my goodness me, puts in a stonking final sector, a 13 flat in the end, and he's defeated Ryan by 200ths of a second out on track. LMN, take a bow. That lap was dead on time. LMN, out on top. From Ryan in 2nd, Gary in 3rd. Look how close the top 6 are. Jorgen 4th, Falcon 5th, Noisy in 6th, 700ths of a second separating 1st to 6th. Have you ever seen it so close in Division 2? I don't think you have. Matt Tibos in 7th, Jonas in 8th, Hapuli Boy in 9th, Isotopic 10th, then Scuba Championship leader, Alonso, B. Morgan, TDB, Callboy ran off the top 15, AJ Carl, Wesker, Sway ran off the top 19. Sway, the only driver actually not to get a lap time in, out on track, but LMN sealed it right at the death, and my goodness me, we were treated to a bit of drama there.
Yep, the popcorn was definitely needed for that one, I'd say.
I'd imagine if they were hearing my commentary, the popcorn was probably spat out their mouth because of LMN coming across the line to go quickest out on track. I really hope that didn't happen to anyone. By the way, do not choke on your food at all. We don't want an accident out on track or with you in the comment section. But LMN out on top, Ryan in 2nd and Gary 3rd. And LMN's time, actually, he was not purple in any of the any of the 3 sectors out on track. 27.621. He was quicker by 900ths of a second compared to Ryan. 26.8. He was slower than Ryan in the middle sector, and then he was slightly quicker than Ryan in the final sector as well. So LMN, a man that hasn't set a purple sector out on track, gets pole.
Yeah, that's all it takes. All you need to do is just string the sectors together, and that's what LMN was able to do.
Yeah, Chonas set the fastest first sector, Ryan's fastest second sector, Noisy fastest final sector out on track. And we are about to get going then, out on track, and it is beautiful, well, I would say it's beautiful blue skies. It is not out on track. Air temperature was 23 degrees, track temperature was 31 degrees, but now LMN sets about on this formation lap, and our prediction, well, Mike's prediction, I should say, going completely wrong. 2nd, 3rd and 4th in the end, but in the wrong order, which is really, really bad. We're seeing quite a few alternate strategies further down the field, and there is the graphic to the left-hand side. Soft Commentators, of course, for the top 10. Scuba, interestingly, going for a set of softs, and a fresh set, of course. Alonso, B. Morgan and TDB, the only ones on a set of mediums. They're in the middle ground, essentially. Callboy, Carl and Sway all on a set of softs. But AJ and Wesker, interestingly, going for a set of hard compounded tyres. Quite a high degradation circuit. Can they make the one-stop work?
It's going to be interesting. Of course, with the it being a little bit overcast, you got to think, is there any possibility for rain?
Could be quite interesting. Yeah, LMN on top, Ryan in 2nd, Gary in 3rd, but hopefully We're going to see out on track how all of this racing is going to unfold. And now, actually, I've just realised I need to turn the telemetry and lap data off. Goodness me, what am I actually doing with myself? Element out on top, Ryan second, Gary in third, Jürgen fourth, Falk in fifth, Noisy sixth, Matt Tibble seventh, Jonathan eighth, Hepuli Boy in ninth, and Isotopic in 10th. We are about now to come around Paraltada for the formation lap and the end of the formation lap. So I'm going to throw it over to you, Mike. Who's your top three?
I'm going to go with Ryan for the win, Gary second, and I'm going to go Matt Tibos third.
Interesting. Scuba theoretically out on top, of course, in the standings coming into tonight. Gary in second, Gary starting third, Scuba down 11th. It is going to be fascinating to see out on track how the 36 laps out on track here at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez are going to unfold. With the three DRS zones, of course, plenty of overtaking and predictive pit stop strategy that comes up right before the race starts. As now LMN is going to set about, and now in the gantry it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go. LMN gets a very good start. So does Ryan, Gary and Jorg actually get a good start as well. But LMN already away and gets 0.3 of a second over Ryan. Running down in towards turn 1. Gary following through as well. The camera angle will cut down in towards turn 1. And it's LMN who leads by 2.5 tenths. Ryan in second. Gary in third. Falk in fourth. Jorg trying to go around the outside line. Can he try and get the move done? He fights with Falk. Trying to go around the outside line. Lose a little bit of time actually. And they're still side by side and behind. Noisy now getting through on his teammate. It's nearly 3 wide running down the straight. Everyone is clean through the first sector. The LMN leads. Ryan in second. Gary third. Falk in fourth. Seen plenty of changes in position. Oh, and Falk's lost its left side end play. I think there's a Constantine effect in behind as well. I was just about to say it's all clean through sector 1, but it's not. Coming through 4 and 5, the Constantine effect happens, and Falk has lost his left side end plate.
Yeah, and he's right in front of Scuba. That's going to slow Scuba down as well. Is there an opportunity for Isotopic here to get ahead of the Red Bull? Oh, it's so close.
And now Scuba's surely going to get through. He lets them both through. In fact, Isotopic tries to go down the inside line on Scuba. There was a Haas, who lost the left side end plate as well. I think it was Alonso out on track that might have lost the left side end plate, but I'm not sure. He certainly went into the back of somebody. Carl and B. Morgan are having a really aggressive fight now coming out through Peraltada. B. Morgan tries to go all the way around the outside on Carl. Falk then is the only one into the pit lane at the end of lap 1. It's side by side as we now see a bit of a glitch as Carl leads the Carl. In fact, as there's a Mercedes going side by side as well. Goodness me, look at this. AJ, B. Morgan, Carl pretty much 3 wide running down the straight. Sway is nearly through on Wesker as well. This is right down the back of the field. There's 3 wide running through turn 1. B. Morgan, there's got to be contact there surely in the race. Oh, and the racing point has gone sailing in. I think that was Carl that went sailing in. And unfortunately for him, he's getting caught up in an incident.
Yeah, I just saw a front wing flying off Sway's Mercedes there.
Yeah.
And I think that's multiple people now with front wing damage.
It is. Wesker, I think, got caught up in that and has got left side end plate damage on that as well. But LMN leading the way. Ryan in second, Gary in third, Noisy in fourth, Matt Tibos in fifth. The graphics, of course, slightly close, and Gary's really close onto the back of Ryan, running towards the baseball stadium section once again. LMN, though, is controlling the race. The Ferrari and the Williams in behind, second and third, will be hoping to try and get some moves done, as the DRS will be enabled, of course, on this lap. Lap 3 about to begin here in Mexico. Zellman leads the way, and it's a good 6.5 tenths over Ryan. Gary in third, Noisy in fourth, coming across the line, everyone following through in single file. Cowboy with the fastest lap of the race. There is side by side though in behind, I believe. In fact, it's not. It's Sway coming into pit then behind Carl, running down in towards turn 1. No, not any overtakes just yet, but the DRS now will be enabled from here.
Yep, so this is where opportunity begins to open up, and Noisy closing up towards the back of Gary. And you've got to think, if he can keep the win at distance, a slipstream he's going to get with DRS activated down on the run into turn 1 on the next lap is going to be fantastic. And a thing that I also noticed as well, Falk chucking on a set of the hard compound tyres.
Yeah, 23.3 seconds, of course, off the back of AJ, and yeah, he's on a set of hard compound tyres, so maybe trying to go for the set of soft set of soft compound tyres towards the end of the race. Nosey ran miles out wide there, coming out of turn 12, coming out of turn 11 even, out of the S section. He ran wide, he's lost time to Gary. I was just about to say he was gaining time on Gary, but he has now lost all that time again. LMN then lead, coming through the baseball stadium section once again. The Mexican fans will be going wild, I am sure, at this point. But LMN leads, Ryan in second, Gary in third, and this is the DRS detection zone where drivers will now begin to try and get an overtake done. And speaking of trying and get an overtake done, Scuba right on the back of Purely Boy and Cowboy as well, right on the back of Isotopic, just in behind, but Scuba makes light work of the McLaren. The Irishman is through on the Finn, and he is through, and he's up into 8th position, and Isotopic fends off Cowboy as well, and Isotopic remains in 10th position. But I tell you what, Ryan really looking up for this as well on the back of LMN for the lead.
Yep, Ryan looking to seek redemption. I believe last time we went racing here in TTML, he just missed out on the race win.
He did indeed, and LMN leading the way, Ryan in second, and Ryan beginning to get a little bit more control of this race, actually out on track. In terms of the, there we are, the damages now came up and everything, 29% rear left on that set of tyres for LMN, compared to Ryan and behind, 28%, but his front left is where he's really locking up, and that could be costing him, but it's actually getting him a little bit closer at this point. That rear left could be puncture territory later on in the race. Wayne Cole, by the way, having a bit of a ding-dong further down the field in 17th and 18th. They're coming through 4 and 5, but Ryan now trying to open up the tap from right above them as he runs down in towards turn 1. I don't think he's going to be close enough. Commentator's famous last words, I think, if he tries to get the move done now in towards turn 1. Behind, though, out on track, Cowboy trying to get Isotopic for 10th. Don't think that he's going to try the move out on track, and no, he's not close enough out on track to try and get that move done. We'll right back on board with the leader, because now Ryan is maintaining that pressure on the back of LMN, and LMN now under pressure significantly from this Ferrari. Oh my goodness me, he went into the back of him in towards turn 4, but LMN leads the way, Ryan in second, and that man there and Gary is in third. Beautiful rear wing cam as well, Noisy fourth, and then Matt Tibbles in fifth at this stage. But LMN doing a fantastic job, and he's holding firm currently, but Ryan is pressurising him.
Yeah, and Ryan now, if he can keep this close onto this main straight, he should be able to get past LMN.
Yeah, you would imagine so. Beauty Boy's just picked up a 3-second time penalty on the exit of turn 11, so that's now a 3-second time penalty, the first one of the night for the Finn on lap 5 out of 36, about to start lap 6 here, with 30 more to go after this one. LMN leads the way. Ryan losing a little bit of time, actually coming out the final corner, and Ryan now on the back of LMN. In terms of the weather, by the way, 22 degrees at air temperature, 30 degrees track temperature, out on track as well. But now Ryan hunting down LMN. I think he's not going to be close enough down in towards turn 1. I don't think he's going to try for the move at this stage of the race, certainly. I'm not going to go on with Cowboy and Isotopic because I know Cowboy's just going to wait in behind out on track. But now Ryan right on the back, and I think it's a good job we haven't got on board with those guys, because now he's pulled out the overtake mode, switches to the inside line, nearly does a bit of lawn mowing there on the inside curb, but he is through right into the lead of the race. LMN is going to try and fight it back, tries to get the switch back, actually got caught in the curb, I think, there, and just sort of went the car to the left-hand side and sort of went out wide. But Ryan now in the lead of the race, and he's in control.
Yep, Ryan now in the lead. What he needs to do now is show that pace that he has shown in the past couple of laps to try and pull the gap, as Gary is very close to the back of LMN as well. So maybe you could see Gary getting through on this lap as well. 90, he's almost on 100%. He is on 100% ERS. Gary, use your ERS, lad.
Yeah, but he's consuming up the ERS at a point, because obviously these guys are stuck in a DRS train, so that's probably why the ERS actually is being consumed up out on track. Matt Tibbles, by the way, is into the pit lane. So Matt Tibbles into the pit, and is that a white wall set of tyres that I can see? The Scuba is on the back of Tionis running down in towards turn 1. Isotopic as well, like a Beauty Boy running down in towards turn 1. And Isotopic, in fact, gets through on a Beauty Boy, and actually Cowboy dives it down the inside, and he makes light work of the Finn. The Irishman let dive bomb, but it works.
Yeah, just taking advantage of what's in front of you there from Cowboy. And I was on board with Scuba, and I was noticing as we got towards the halfway point of the straight, he just ran out of meaningful deployment on his ERS, so he was unable to keep with Jonas on the run into turn 1. So Scuba needs to start saving a bit of that ERS if he really wants to get past this runner.
He's the lowest guy out on track. I swear he's going past Carl, I think, running down in towards someone and 2. They're having their own private ding-dong out the back of the field. The sun is now coming out here in Mexico as Vapor TDP right on the back of Purely Born. In fact, is he going to try and get the move done? Down in towards turn 12. Yes, he is. And the racing point is through on the McLaren. The McLaren is going to fight out wide, but the McLaren gets caught on the marbles, and I'm afraid there's only one way he's going, and that was out wide. And TDP now through on a set of mediums. He's into 10th position as I see Cowboy and Scuba both into the pit lane.
Scuba clearly looking for the undercut and maybe to get a little bit of back as well. And yeah, he
mediums, and yeah, Matt Tibos has gone into a set of mediums as well, and actually, I think Matt Tibos is going to be well ahead of Scuba coming out the pit lane, and he will be. So Matt Tibos, that undercut is very potent around here in Mexico. In the meantime, going to focus our battle on 5th. Jonas is around the outside of Jorg, trying to get the move done. TNR against TTG Academy, and he is through. He's up into 5th position, or is he? Because now Jorg gets on the inside line, coming in towards turn 6 through the double right-hander, and they catch on to each other slightly. Jonas a little bit slidey, and Jorg actually maintains the position. He stays in 5th.
Yeah, Jonas here just getting out onto the outside curb, just couldn't put the traction down.
Yeah,
he catches a snap there, mid-corner, fair play.
Yeah, really struggling actually for traction, possibly out on track, Jonas, and Jorg maintaining that and maintaining it to good effect. He's in 5th position. Sway and Carl, by the way, still having their own private ding-dong battle out on track. I think Ryan is coming into... Oh, I thought he was coming into the pit lane now, but he's not. Pit window is actually now open, that 9 to 12. You can see it on the right-hand side of your screen, just in front of the track map. It's really weird, so that can up. But pit window is now open. Jonas, Isotopic and Purely Boy take this opportunity, though, to come into the pit lane, and they're thinking of get undercut once again, and a couple of more drivers actually thinking about a 2-stop strategy. B. Morgan's right on the back of Alonso, and he's going to absolutely size him down in towards turn 1, and B. Morgan is through and he's into 7th.
Yeah, we'll see if Alonso can do anything to fight back. It doesn't look like he's got the traction out of turn 3, so you have to stay behind, and B. Morgan going to be able to pull away slightly with that DRS. Top 3 as they remain.
Yeah, top 3 as we remain. Gary has just lost a bit of time actually to LMN. LMN carrying on nicely, but Ryan looks like he's on a push lap. He looks like he's coming in the end of this lap, and he's already got the DRS range out to LMN. It's now a second, dead on, coming into the baseball stadium section once again, and then in towards Pavel Tardov, of course. Ryan leading the way. LMN second, Gary third, Noisy 4th. Alfa Romeo currently outscoring Red Bull in terms of the constructors' standings. That might change though as the pit stops happen. Coming then through the final corner, and actually second and third are in. LMN and Gary into the pit lane. Jorg, I think, is into the pit lane as well as Noisy carries on. Pit window once again is open. Medium set of tyres, 2-stop strategy, and now this is going to be fascinating to see where these guys are going to come out.
Yeah, so see if Matt Tibos is, I believe, 2-lap undercut is going to work out for him. As yeah, he's going to pass him though. He's going to pass him. So Matt Tibos now ahead of LMN. He's just got past AJ as well with DRS wide open, and Matt Tibos, you've got to think, in the net race lead.
Jonas is down the inside of Scuba as well. He's fresh out of the pit lane, is through, and he's up into 9th position. Scuba getting outdone there. Jorg has lost positions on the back of Gary. There's a little bit of a graphics glitch, I think, to the left-hand side there, but Scuba trying to chase down Jonas, but Jonas crucially ahead of Scuba. LMN, I think, was the one that's been really caught out, I think, with that pit stop, because the overcut really does not work around here. It's always the undercut that works around here at Mexico. LMN in 8th, AJ in 7th. AJ's on a set of hard compounded tyres. The mediums inevitably are going to be quicker. But as I always say in these commentaries, it's one thing to get onto the back of a driver, it's another thing to overtake.
Yeah, and this is an interesting situation we got right here, the battle for P10.
Up to win.
Uber and Gary.
Top two into the pit lane. Ryan putting on for a set of mediums, and also Noisy should go on for a set of mediums, you would imagine, as well, as they now rack up the laps. And this is where Ryan is going to be fascinating to see where he comes out in front of Matt Tibos. And I think, actually, they're going to be side by side coming out the pit lane. Now on pit exit, and Matt Tibos is ahead. So Matt Tibos is ahead, and Ryan actually could be under pressure from LMN, running down in towards turn one. We could get three wide in the meantime, in towards turn one. Sean on the inside line, LMN on the outside line. AJ's just sitting, waiting back. He's lost two positions, though, but Jonas is through down the inside line and LMN. He is through now. He's into sixth. He's got warmer tyres. He's got fresher compounder tyres on that car, and now he can try and close. Scuba and Gary, though, the two championship leaders. Scuba's going to try and get past AJ. Gary really needs to fight for this, and he's now on the inside line, coming in towards turn 4. Scuba's hung out to dry, coming through turn 5 as AJ hangs on, but Scuba around the outside line, and now Gary is in all sorts of trouble. He's got Scuba, his nearest championship rival, now a car ahead.
Yeah, but that was important for Scuba to get that gap, and
no way!
He's looking for a move. He's trying to get past this McLaren ASAP. He knows how important it is.
But look at Jorg on the back as well, Noisy on the back of this as well. So these guys, all of these guys essentially getting held up, and Gary has just picked up a 3-second time penalty. That was minimal, if I've got to be honest, for 3-second time penalty being picked up there. But Gary in 10th, AJ in 9th. I don't think AJ is going to be 9th for that much longer. Jonas, new fastest lap of the race, 1:16.655. Wesker, 3-second time penalty. Gary pulls out the slipstream. This should be job done, but watch out for Jorg. Jorg's going to get a double toe. He's going to get through two of them down the inside line, pretty much alongside the grass to the left-hand side of the track. As now, actually, Noisy goes for a move, and now Gary and Jorg are side by side. AJ and Noisy are side by side. Noisy's on the inside line as well. Really good attacking driving, and Gary is through on Jorg. He's into 9th position. Isotopic AJ dropping down, and AJ really not happy, I think, with some driving standards. It's 3 wide running down in towards turn 4. Isotopic trying to dive it, but now Cowboy and Noisy now going side by side. Noisy is hung out to dry. Noisy's the one that's lost positions as Matt Tibos has lost it, coming through turn 6.
It's heartbreaking for the Red Bull. I believe front wing damage, yes.
Yeah.
Heavy front wing damage.
And a side-by-side in the meantime as well. Cowboy, Jorg has just gone around the outside, I think. Sorry, that was Noisy trying to fight Cowboy. I thought Noisy had gone around the outside of Cowboy. He didn't. Cowboy stays 10th and Noisy in 11th position. Goodness me. If you are in for a treat in this race, you are suddenly getting treacherous at the minute. TDB leads the way. B. Morgan in 2nd, Alonso in 3rd. And actually, for the net race lead, Jonas is right on the back of Ryan.
Yeah, see if he can get through. DRS wide open, the overspeed is there. He moves to the inside line. He's going to be well past him.
Yeah, it should be job done. And now Scuba and Gary are going to go side by side, the two championship leaders. Now running for net P4, carrying the out on track. Up into 7th, Gary goes, and he's really impressive in terms of his pace. Scuba, though, was going to try and hang on in there, and he's going to try and get onto the back of Gary and keep that thorn in his side to try and get a really good result here out on track. The sun now bursting through the clouds here in Mexico. A third of the way through, and TDB leads. B. Morgan 2nd, Alonso 3rd, Jonas 4th, Ryan 5th, Element in 6th. You're on board though with Scuba on the back of Gary for 7th and 8th. Jorgen there 9th, then Cowboy 10th, Noisy in 11th. And Noisy is the one who is going to try and really excel his way through the field. He is part, of course, of TTG Academy. He's got a TTG main driver in Cowboy just ahead of him, and Noisy actually could come under pressure from a bit from Isotopic in behind.
Yeah, Isotopic, he's just staying there at the moment, and he's just waiting for the opportunity. Let these guys battle, and they can sniff out an opportunity. That's why Isotopic is thinking right now. As Jorg gets a little bit of a snap on the exit of the final corner there, that's going to compromise him in making this move on Scuba, who does not have DRS to Gary. He doesn't have any ERS to defend with either.
Look at the closing speed though. Jorg doesn't go for it down in towards someone sensible, I think, not to go for the move and do with Daniel Ricciardo. Jonas has picked up a penalty out on track. He's picked up 3 seconds. AJ as well. Another 3-second penalty, I think, for him out on track. Jorg there in 9th. Carl has just picked up a 5-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane. Not sure if he might retire from the race. He was having a battle with Sway, and he has retired dead on time. As soon as I say that, he retires from the race. Disappointing for the Racing Point, but at least he's retired in the pit lane and not out on track.
Yep, and It's a shame to see Carl retire, but if you are going to do it, the pit lane is the best place to do it.
Yeah, pit lane definitely. I wonder if he actually picked up any sort of damage on that car. He has retired up, and there's 18 drivers now remaining in this race. The yellow flag in Sector 3 is for the AI car. He will get out of the way running down and towards someone, and that actually could cause a little bit of trouble for TDB as Alonso's into the pits.
Yeah, we'll I'll jump on board with TDB as... Yeah, look at that. That's a terrible place to park there from the AI.
Yeah, and he's probably... Do you know what? He's probably retired that, and the code has probably realised that he's retired it in the pit lane, but still brought the car out on track. Really, really strange Codemasters coding, to be honest.
Let's watch out.
But look at this. Jonas better watch out as well, because Ryan's right on the back of him, and he's going to go down the inside line and towards turn 4. Can he get the move done? Jonas just invites him through, and he's on fresher tyres, and now Ryan has retaken the net race lead, actually. Or has this been done for Jonas's benefit out on track as a Beauty Boy and AJ now fighting a Beauty Boy through into 12th position? But has this been done to Jonas's benefit because Jonas actually just let him through? Is that more for DRS, and is that more for trying to pull out a gap to LMN and Gary in behind?
It could very well be all that. Knowing Ryan's pace around you, he definitely got the pace to told Jonas along, and with the penalties as well, looming behind. It'll be interesting. I think Jonas has played this a little bit tactically, maybe to save some ERS as well.
Well, he's 7/10 off coming across the line. TDB, by the way, into the pit lane. There he is, into the pit. And he's gone onto a set of soft compounder tyres. 20 laps on a set of softs will not work. And he's going one stop on that car towards the, two stop, I should say, towards the end of the race. We'll go back on board though with Jonas. And actually, we'll go back on board in behind with Jorg. He's just got through on Scuba. We missed that slightly, but Jorg, I think, was down the inside line on Scuba. Gets the move done, and he's up into 6th. Noisy, 3-second time, and that was Noisy actually running miles out wide coming out of turn 3. Jonas is not close enough on the back of Ryan further up the field, but Noisy in 9th, Isotopic in 10th, and Isotopic might be a man to try and get him his way into contention. I'll tell you what though, Callboy with an undercut to perfection. He's under pressure from Noisy, albeit on fresher tyres, but Callboy really putting in a good performance, I think, so far. He's currently in a net P6, well, P7 even.
Yeah, he's been making his moves where they count, and he's looking now towards the back of the championship leader in Scuba. And Scuba is almost out of DRS range of Jorg up ahead. But Scuba dropping back.
Yeah, Scuba dropping back. Mativos is through as well onto the hards. Wesker, I think, let him through there. Further down the field, that was for 16th and 17th position. B. Morgan then into the pit lane, will relinquish the lead of the race, and now that lead belongs to Ryan, out on track by 6/10 of a second. We're on board though with Noisy on the back of Callboy, and Callboy looks like a sitting duck running down the straight. The overtake mode you can see on the steering wheel there was in operation, and Noisy absolutely sailed on by the Irishman. It's as if the Irishman went to the pub and Noisy had just came in through the door and was invited in, and he's through and he's up at the 7th. That's a terrible pun, I know.
I mean, St. Patrick's Day wasn't that long ago.
St. Patrick's Day is today.
It's today, it's there. I think it was yesterday.
Is it yesterday? Today? Answers on the postcard, please. Let's have a look on my calendar. Hang on. You might be right. Yeah, St. Patrick's Day was yesterday, so ignore us. TDB's, though, is still on the Beauty Boy, and he's up into 10th position. And yeah, Callboy might be getting the first pint of Guinness in when the pub's open in Ireland, to be honest, if he can try and hold off on the back of Isotopic. Noisy as well. And actually, saying that, Callboy's just picked up a penalty, and Noisy again, running out wide. And he seems to have a real trouble for turn 11 because he runs out wide constantly, never picks up a 3-second time penalty, but he never backs off the throttle either, which is very strange.
Very strange indeed, as I believe we could potentially see a move happening for 3rd place right now as Gary is wide open. He is closing in on LMN. He might be close enough to look down the inside.
Knowing Gary's not going to go for the move.
He does!
But he doesn't pull it off. There we are. Gary stays fourth, but for how long? Noisy is through on Scuba. These guys are side by side, coming through turn 3 and behind. And Noisy now with Scuba, running side by side. Scuba now tucks back into the slipstream, tries to get the move done. Gary, in the meantime, is down the inside line of LMN. LMN on the outside line, really holding firm. Jonas on the back of Ryan. This race is about to kick off big time at the halfway stage.
Absolutely. I mean, we had a race of the season candidate. Oh no, let's go with
Sorry. Goodness me, that was so unfortunate. That I apologise wholeheartedly for that. Could not let that go. Ryan leading the way, Jonas in second, Zellman in third, Gary in fourth. But Wesker just coming onto that, retiring into the pit. Falk is on the back of Matt Tibbles. What on earth's happened to Falk in this race? Obviously he had damage, but he's lost a lot of time out on track. As actually AJ's round coming through the middle sector. And is that with a puncture? No. I think he just lost it through the S section. That's what's happened there. So unfortunately for AJ, down there in 14th position. And he's going to be trooping into the pit. And he might actually still have a bit of a free range. Well, he's going to be the last, I think, when he comes out the pit lane. Noisy, in the meantime, is through on Jorg. And I think Jorg's probably let him through there down the straight. So Noisy now through and he's up into P5.
Here goes Gary. It's quite open, and the overspeed's there. Gary now up into third. Can LMN fight back?
Switch back?
He was looking for it, but
just wasn't close enough. Just wasn't close enough to try and pull off the switchback, I think, there for LMN. But he's in the promising position. Both Ryan and Jonas, by the way, are using up the DRS to each other in good effect. And Ryan actually picks up a 3-second time penalty. And now that could throw the race absolutely wide open. And am I being mad and thinking it could throw the race wide open into Scuba's hands?
Potentially. Scuba at the moment still penalty free down there in 7th place, as it looks like everyone is starting to close back up to each other.
Yes, 0.8 of a second. Go on.
I was going to say,
Scuba's
and Scuba going for another undercut. We'll see.
Mediums.
Yeah, it's got to be the mediums, but I'm going to say Jonas has done a good job of regaining his ERS, because look at him now, over 70%.
B. Morgan's run on the back of Pewley Boy running down the straight. Set of softs against a set of mediums. You know which one I'm going for all day of the week. B. Morgan is through and he's into 11th position, but that lockup will not do his tyres any good at all. But he is through the brace on the fin and he's up into 11th position. AJ, by the way, came into the pit lane for a fresh set of mediums. He actually continued on another lap. Sway came into the pit lane as well. Actually, no, Sway's lost time to the back. Scuba, though, there he is, on a fresh set of mediums. The gap that you've got to keep on board with, as I accidentally go on board with TV Pod, 26.5 seconds. That undercut is Bolton around here. Those guys might wait a few more laps to go in for a set of softs. Could Scuba do this?
I mean, we saw how powerful the undercut was on the first stint, and we saw Matt Tibos fly up to the race lead, well, net race lead, until he unfortunately lost it. And yeah, every possibility, the longer these guys stay out, the more it favours Scuba jumping up the order.
And Callboy, I think, who was ahead of him coming into the pit lane last time around, is now into the pit lane this time around. But Jonas now on the back of Ryan, running down through turn 1, through turn 2, through turn 3. Is he going to be close enough? I think Jonas needs to make a move now if he wants to try and win this race. If not, he's going to sit in behind Ryan for quite a long time. They are gaining ahead of Gary and LMN, who are really struggling to try and catch back up to these front two. But these front two now surely have got to battle. I think Jonas, to be honest, I think he should come into the pit lane, maybe in either this lap, next lap, or the lap after that. So in the next 3 laps. Otherwise, I think those tyres are going to really go off, and I was just about to say that the tyres are really going off out on track as Jonas gets caught on the curve, but he actually catches back up to 6/10 of a second behind Ryan, and now, surely that might be the warning sign for him to come into the pits.
Yeah, that was a little bit too close for comfort from my end watching that. How we managed to keep that car and not lose a huge amount of time to Ryan in the process is beyond me.
Stays out. It stays out for another lap, but look at the gap. It's cost him 4 or 5 tenths of a second. That 4 or 5 tenths could come back to haunt him later on in the race. LMN, though, now sizing up on the back of Gary, running down the straight in towards turn 1. Can he possibly try and get the move done from this far back? One word, no. Gary's still in third.
Yeah, and
Alonso's running.
Go on.
Alonso's running the back of TDB. I think you were going to come on to say that, actually, if I'm not mistaken. TDB in 8th, Alonso in 9th. And Alonso, actually, very promising position here. He's on a set of soft-compounded tyres. He should come into the pit lane probably in the next 4 or 5 laps, I would imagine, to come in for another fresh set of softs. He's going to go to the end of the race on that compound. And he might be one of the ones to watch out for. But again, I'll keep on saying this. One thing to overtake, one thing to get onto the back of the driver, another thing to overtake.
Yeah, absolutely, and I wasn't going to mention about Alonso. I was going to mention the gap from Scuba to Ryan.
Sorry to cut in. Noisy's on the inside of LMN, running down towards turn 12. Goodness me, the lean on each other slightly. He's round the outside line. LMN not giving this up without a fight. A little bit of side-by-side contact. Robin is racing, but LMN holds. But of course, around the outside line, they're leaving each other short of room. Noisy nearly fronts him into the wall. Jonas into the pit lane now from second position. Jorg now right on the back of LMN. This is going to really help out the Alfa Romeo boys in terms of the constructors. But now, Jorg right on the back of LMN. He's side by side with them. Elementor sitting duck. There he goes. York through and he's up into 4th. And now both the Alfa Romeos are through. Element, I feel, will really not be happy with that, though.
No, I don't think he'll be happy at all. And here's a telling sign now as Jonas comes out of the pit lane. And where is Scuba relative to him? He's
miles behind.
Yeah, about 3 seconds back.
Yeah, it'd be 2.5 seconds, I think, running down towards turn 1. So yeah, 2.6, 2.7 seconds. Jonas now ahead of Scuba, massively out on track. And look at the gap now he has got to Ryan out on track. It is 20.7 seconds. I'm sure a pit stop around here is 21 seconds. So Ryan might be under threat now from losing his race lead to Jonas, and surely Ryan has got to respond. There he is, out on track. He's 2.8 seconds ahead. His pace has been phenomenal tonight, I've got to be honest. And now he's got to respond to come into the pit lane. But no, he carries on for another lap. That's really going to cost him, I think. Gary is behind him. Noisy in 3rd, Jorgen 4th. Element into pits.
Yep, and Element, I think, has made a very smart call by here. Because he'll be able to get an undercut. Everyone ahead of him was in the train. And he's chucked on a set of the soft tyres.
Yeah, set of softs going on. He's going to be quicker. Where's he going to come out in relation to Callboy? I think Callboy's going to be ahead of him. Yeah, Callboy will be ahead of him coming out the pits. It's only going to be about 5-6 tenths running down in towards turn 1 maybe. Maybe even a second. But Callboy 12th, Element 13th. Beauty Boys just picked up a 3-second time. There's not many penalties now for drivers that actually don't have them. Alonso, P. Morgan and Scuba, the only 3 not to have any sort of penalty out on track. Element, though, on the back of Callboy, trying to get the move done, but he's not going to get the move done, and he stays in behind him for now, but for how long?
That is the big question, as those fresh soft tyres are going to be so much more grippier than those mediums.
Lando's saying Jonas has lost this race. I don't think Jonas has lost this race at all, to be honest. Look at the gap now to Beauty Boy. It was 4 seconds he came out the pit lane. It's now 3 tenths, and this is the telling sign. Ryan into the pit lane, Gary into the pit lane. Jonas is right on the back of a Beauty Boy. Sooner he gets out of the way, the better, and he is going to get him indeed down in towards turn 1. But now Jonas into the pit lane. Oh, and actually, there's contact at Jonas. The Beauty Boy was looking to come into the pit lane. He was on the outside line. That was dangerous, cutting across, but he's still ahead. Jonas is still ahead of Ryan, out on track despite that alarm. And look at Scuba. Scuba's right on the back of Ryan. Both on a set of medium compounded tyres, Jonas and Scuba. Ryan on a fresh set of softs. He's got 3 seconds time worth of penalties. Looking out on track as well, Jonas has got 3 seconds worth of penalties as well. So now, game on. As I always say, one thing to try and catch a driver, another thing to try and overtake. But, to be honest, I have a feeling he might just try and hold on to this, but Ryan is going to be a worthy adversary.
Yeah, Ryan, you can see how much those fresh sauce are gaining him through these corners. He's closing up rapidly. And of course, Scuba able to get that undercut. He's ahead of his championship rival, Gary. And this is going to be another tasty battle between those two.
It's going to be a very tasty battle. Yeah, he is catching up. Gary on the back, 1.5 seconds, 1.4 seconds. Already the gap has came down by 0.6 of a second. Jonas to Ryan. Noisy's into the pit lane. Isotopic into the pit lane as well. Now Ryan on the back, 2.2 seconds, 2 seconds. Might be eating my own words here, to be honest. He's now catching right onto the back of Jonas. It's 1.8, 1.7 coming across the line. And this is fascinating. Purple middle, purple final sectors out on track as well. Joglo leading, TDB in second, B Morgan in third. I'm trying to see if there's any further battles happening down the field. LMN is catching Gary, who's out of DRS range on Scuba and runs down in towards turn one, but he's not quite close enough on the back of Gary. Gary actually losing time compared to Scuba. Was there a mistake in the final sector from Gary? Don't think there was. He just lost time.
I'm not sure. It was around a second, so he just lost the. He just missed out on the DRS by about a tenth, but he's right on the back of that Red Bull now. As we go for the middle sector. But can Gary pass and get that 3-second gap that he needs? That's the question.
He could do, but we saw it in Division 1. These sort of softs really do not last long out on track, and they're going to be at their tyre wear limit, really, within 4 or 5 laps of this now on. But speaking of on, Ryan is now on the back of Jonas. It's now 9/10 of a second. He is hunting him down like David hunting Goliath, and now takes the inner line, coming through the final corner, and he gains so much time. He gains the fastest lap of the race as well. Gary on the back of Scuba. Which battle to turn to? I'm going to prefer Scuba and Gary over Jonas and Ryan at this point. Gary on the inside line. LMN is trying to catch as well. LMN could try and get both of them down the inside in towards turn one. He'll think about it, try and get one, but Gary is through on the back of Scuba. He is now through and he's into P3. LMN now right on the back of Scuba, and actually Ryan has overtaken Jonas for the race lead. So I have, at my own words, simply and humbly out on track.
Yeah, but LMN's going to stick behind Scuba for another lap, and how is this going to affect things? Because Scuba on those mediums, it's not going to be as quick as the soft runners, and yet you can see the gap between LMN and Noisy starting to come down as well.
Yeah, 9/10 of a second, and look at where Scuba now is. He's through the S section, in front of LMN, and this is going to cost him. This is going to cost LMN absolutely big time out on track. He's already lost 0.4 of a second to the back of Noisy. A Beauty Boy going side by side as well with Falk further down the field. They're fighting through the S section. Falk maintaining that for now. Ryan, though, 0.7 of a second ahead of Jonas at this stage. 3.7 seconds to Gary in behind, and Gary will be the one hunting down Jonas late on in this race. He's already broken DRS to Scuba, and now LMN and Noisy are going to be right on the back, and if anything, Noisy might be the quickest man out on track right now, and he is catching wholeheartedly right on the back of LMN and right on the back of Scuba. Scuba will maintain P4 for now as Isotopic is through, and actually nearly 2x2 as York is down the inside line as well. Cowboy nearly, I think there was a bit of contact there, but Cowboy...
York went for a little bit of a half spin there, losing out a spot to
Alonso. Yeah, down the inside line he comes. Can he get the car stopped? Yeah, beautiful move by the German now. I was going to say by Cowboy. Alonso's through on Cowboy, and now Vapor TDP down the inside line. I'm afraid to say Cowboy now getting shredded really by the soft runners out on track, and Cowboy now down into 10th. He's going to lose surely another 2 positions at least out on track because Jorg is right on the back of him. But Cowboy in 10th, Jorg in 11th, and we've got 8 more laps to go out on track. Noisy on the back of LMN. Jorg right on the back of Cowboy. We've got Mercedes against Alfa Romeo, and then Alfa Romeo against the AlphaTauri of LMN coming through turn 17 once again. 29 out of 36. Ryan leading. Jonas in second. That coming out the pit lane this way to the right hand side. LMN now right on the back of Scuba, and he's going to get through. Noisy might get Scuba as well. Down the inside line. He might get LMN down and towards turn 1. Oh, he tries to look in the inside line. He doesn't get the move done. Sway getting out of the way of everyone to the right hand side of the track. But now Noisy right on the back of LMN. Is he going to try and look with that rear wing open? We hope to get a better camera angle than that. He's not going to try now. Down in towards turn number 4. The 4th position, LMN 4th, Noisy in 5th. But at what cost is this costing them? And at what cost is Scuba being cost as well? And actually, in terms of the constructors, Alfa Romeo outscoring Red Bull as well.
Yep, this is brilliant for Alfa Romeo in terms of the constructors battle right now, and this is working out relatively well for Gary at the moment. He needs to build a little bit more of a gap, I think. I think he needs an extra half a second at least on Scuba, but a guy who's been silently going about his race, Alonso in 8th, no penalties to his name.
Yeah, really falling under the radar. I think we mentioned it just before he made his pit stop that he was falling underneath the radar. And he's really coming into this race well. He's on the back of Isotopic as well. Isotopic is not within the slipstream range of Scuba, so this could be a move done now for Alonso. Closing in on the back, you can see on his steering wheel, he has got that overtake mode now enabled. Tries to look to the inside line. Isotopic just about got the legs. Noisy is through down the inside line, just in front of camera shot, and he's through. And he's up into 4th position at LMN. And now we'll try to switch back out of turn 3, does Alonso. TDB right on the back of this as well. Could see a 3-car, maybe a 4-car battle for 7th position. As Alonso right on the back of Isotopic. Not going to get the move done, and Isotopic still remains in 7th. But the longer that Alonso is held behind, the more that's going to bring Jorg, maybe even B. Morgan into play as well.
Yeah, B. Morgan not too far off the back of all this. And B. Morgan, Alonso and Scuba are the only ones without a penalty right now. So they're looking to do very well by jumping up the order.
TDB on the back of Alonso, Isotopic now on the back of Scuba. So actually, this could be a 6-car battle for 6th. Out on track, now unfolding between our eyes. Scuba still stays 6th. Isotopic in 7th. A little bit of a Constantine effect just in behind. TDB got close to the back of Alonso, and again gets close to the back of Alonso. But Isotopic just loses a little bit of traction. And actually, that thin line coming through the final corner at Peraltada, really, really costly for Isotopic. The Scuba took the inside line, just about going to hold on to this, but is he? Because Isotopic now is going to fall through. Scuba's surely going to fall down the field here. Isotopic is through and he's into 6th. Alonso, though, now right on the back of TDB. Jorg, right on the back of TDB. And B. Morgan, right on the back of Jorg. And this is now really sputting up this mid-pack battle. Really beginning to get heated up. TDB right on the back of Alonso, running down in towards turn 4. Nobody going for the move. They'll lap 31 out of 36, 5.5 to go. Ryan leads, John is 2nd, Gary in 3rd. Once Ryan got into the lead, by the way, he's really not pulled away that much.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if Ryan's tyres are going to hold up or if Jonas is going to come back at him. But right now, I gotta say, Gary has been steadily closing in on Jonas for 2nd place.
2.5 seconds though, the gap. There's the penalties, by the way. I know we've got a comment there from Colin, one of your Esports Wales people. Men, drivers, I don't know. Ryan, yeah, lads. Ryan leads the way. Jonathan 2nd, Gary in 3rd. 3-second time only for the top 6. Scuba could be in a promising position later on in the race, but there we are. Ryan leads the way. Gary, you mentioned 2.3 seconds in 3rd. There is the Williams out on track. Jorg, though, in the meantime, closing up on the back of Alonso, runs in the slipstream, tries to look to the outside line. This is bold, this is brave if he's committed, but he's not. And now B. Morgan falls into place as Falk comes into the pit lane, possibly to set a fastest lap attempt. There's a little bit of contact there. TDB now on the back of Scuba, running down in towards turn 4. Is he close enough? No. Is Jorg close enough? No.
And Jorg just picking up another time penalty there on the exit of turn 3, and that's going to hinder him drastically in this. It's pretty much now a 7-man train, isn't it?
It is a 7-man train. You've now been referred to as plonkers within the chat, which is very good indeed from the Esports Wales. Of course, Esports Wales, I do believe on the grapevine, have signed up for EML Teams Championship next season. I saw that. Ryan leads the way. Jonathan 2nd. Gap for the leads coming down. Jonas 2nd, Ryan in 3rd. Looking at the front left of Ryan, 67%. With 4 laps to go. Am I getting too ahead of myself and thinking he might get a puncture final lap?
It's going to be close. It's going to be very close. I don't have that I don't have that coming up on my side of the telemetry, unfortunately, but...
Oh, it's got a Tina effect, and B. Morgan's lost his left side end plate damage, just coming through. Scuba slowed up enough, coming through turn one. And now, Alonso and York right on the back of Scuba. Absolute disaster. And I think Alonso, he got damage as well on the right side end plate? No, he hasn't. Looking at the damage actually from the guys around him, 38% for B. Morgan, 31% on the front left as well. So he's got both damaged end plates out on track. He's the only man actually to pick up damage out on track. But I'll tell you what, Mike, Jonas, 1.1 seconds off the back of Ryan, and never discount a head commentator in TTML when he says Jonas might still win this. I will stay by that, because I think Ryan's tyres are going to go possibly before the end of this race. And actually, no, now that the TAS system is updated, it's 49% for Ryan. He's absolutely fine on those tyres. Jonas has got 52% rear left. So, just ignore me.
Yeah, that's what it was showing for me, so when you said
building up the suspense.
I mean, the suspense don't need building, because Jonas
Is
now
York
within the second.
York's on the back of Scuba. Scuba moves across him, but York's actually down the inside line. Scuba's got to give him room and actually gives him the position. York is through and he's into 9th position. Good move there by York. Good defensive driving by Scuba. His tyres are now wearing away. Jonas, though, for the lead of the race, is a second behind on Ryan. It's 1.1 seconds. The gap is staying very consistent, but it could be the case, actually, if Ryan's tyres obviously don't go, which I don't think they will. Jonas, though, those mediums now, we're seeing the crossover point now out on track. There's no doubt about it. Jonas now within 0.7 of a second. Jonas now has got to drive these final 2 laps of the race coming up as if he's never driven 2 laps like this before.
This is where we're going to see what Jonas and Ryan are both made of here. We've got 2 laps left to go. The gap is 0.8 of a second. Can Ryan hold on? Can Jonas take the win? Or, I'm throwing it out there because he is within, he's almost within 3 seconds, I think. Gary, if they pick up another penalty.
I see where you're going. Yeah, Gary is catching, isn't he? Gary's catching, but he's on the set of soft compound of tyres, and that's what's going to hold him back. TDP in the background, trying to go side by side with Isotopic. Tries to look to the inside line, not quite. Isotopic in 6th. Matt Tibos is into the pit lane, and there's a car around. I think it was Sway getting that there by Falk. Jonas, though, 0.6 of a second behind on the back of Ryan. Falk is into the pit lane as well. Response to Matt Tibos coming in, and now Jonas is on the back. 4.5 tenths. I'll call it now. Jonas is getting him down the straight in towards turn 1.
Here we go. We are about to come on to the final lap here. Jonas all over that rear wing of Excel Ryan.
Oh, much better exit. This is surely it. On to the final lap we go. And now Ryan has got to drive this final lap like he's never driven this final lap before. Jonas on the back of him may not be close enough running down in towards turn 1. Or is he? Or is he? He's on the outside line. Ryan defends to the inside line. There's contact. He moves across on his line there, does Ryan. Little bit unfair. Jonas actually loses the rear end, and that's it. Ryan moving across the line on Jonas. That might get investigated, to be honest. There's now Element and Isotopic forced each other off, and now TDP's right on the back.
Oh,
He's gone pond of the Red Sea through the middle. Can he try and get the move done? He's trying to get the move done down the inside of Isotopic. Goes down the inside line like a pond of the Red Sea, like Moses did back in the day. TDP is through and he's into 5th. Gary has lost 3rd to Noisy. This is unbelievable.
It's all kicked off here on the final lap.
It's typical of Mexico. Final lap. Gary now right on the back of Noisy, but I wonder actually if this is more for DRS. I wonder if Gary's going to try and get Noisy down the straight. He looks to the inside line, down in towards turn 12. Can he get the move done? No. He's forced off line. Coming around the final corner though. Ryan is just about going to hang on. Ryan around the final corner at Peraltada. He is going to win out on track. Jonas in second. That battle with Noisy and Gary is still side by side. coming out the final corner. Noisy finishes P3. Gary at P4. My God, what an ending. TDB. Isotopic jumps up. Alonso, with no penalties, gets 5th in the end. Isotopic 6th. Element 7th. Scuba in 8th, with hardly any penalties either. DDB in 9th, Jorgen 10th, Callboy 11th, Hapuni Boy in 12th. Any of these guys that we've mentioned further down the field. B. Morgan with his damage. Could he get the fastest lap of the race, I wonder? Comes around the final corner. The Brit coming across the line to finish in 13th position. He doesn't in the end. He actually jumps up to 12th as a result. With AJ now coming across the line, or around the final corner in 14th position. Nosy, by the way, picked up damage on the final lap of the race. 31% damage on that left side end plate. On the left side end plate, I should say, on that final lap. Matibos across the line in 15th. He gets the fastest lap for now. But does he? Yeah, because Falk now around the final corner, trying to pick up the final point out on track, comes across the line, and he does. It's a 114.785. And he gets that extra point to his name. So across the line to finish in 17th. Only 2 DNFs out on track, both retired into the pit lane. And it is the man, Ryan, who has taken the win. Sean has pushed him all the way as Alonso picks up the drive of the day. And Noisy getting out on top of Gary to finish in 3rd despite the damage on the final lap.
Yeah, why enter the race? There were so many late overtakes. Even the fastest lap wasn't even calm.
But to the top step of the podium goes Ryan. Chionis finishing in 2nd, Noisy in 3rd. I'm sure we'll try and get all 3 of these guys in. Gary finishing in 4th, misses out, but crucially has outscored Scuba out on track. And that now closes the gap going into next week. I'll get the virtual standings up at the minute. Gary on 169, Scuba on 181, 12 points separating going into next week as it stands. There could be penalties, of course, coming way of drivers. But Ryan has won out on track. Jonas in 2nd, Noisy in 3rd, Gary in 4th. Alonso gets driver of the day, awarded by the in-game fans, 12th up to 5th. With Isotopic in 6th. LMN from Paul down in 7th in the end. Really got lost out in the end. Scuba in 8th, TDB 9th, Jorgen 10th. Callboy 11th, B. Morgan 12th, Purely Boy 13th, AJ 14th, Matt Tibos rounds up the top 15, Falk 16th, Sway 17th, Wesker and Carl, the 2 to DNF out on track. And that is it here in Division 2. But Mike, shall we get the top 3 in?
Yep, I'm just going through it now.
Fantastic. And of course, you have got more action to look forward to tomorrow night on League Racing TV. And that is, of course, I'm back again. You can never get rid of me on League Racing TV. I'm going to be doing commentary, of course, for Division 4 alongside Paco Suarez, and Division 5, James Boyle and NSR Pariah. Going to be taking you through the action there. AJ wants to go again. He just read it up there on my screen. Don't think he really wants to be honest, to have another race out on track. But Ryan, his first victory actually this season, Noisy's 2nd podium, Jonas's best result of the season, finishing in 2nd.
Yeah, very big performance from Noisy, Jonas and Ryan here tonight. And redemption for Ryan, actually, from last season.
Yeah, redemption indeed. I thought Ryan had won a race before this, though.
Not this season, I don't think.
Oh, am I just thinking he was on the podium at one race I covered?
Was it Spain?
I thought it was Spain, yeah. I thought it was Spain. He might have been on the podium then. Let me have a look.
Invite out.
Invite out. So hopefully the top 3 will begin to join us in. I'm just going to run through the podiums. And Ryan... he was 2nd to Gary in Australia. And speaking of the man, he's here. Ryan has taken the win, of course, out on track. Your first win of the season. Talk us through how it feels.
Relief. Absolute relief. I've had a pretty up and down season. Obviously, Australia got P2 behind Gary, which was a miracle in itself. And then I've had an absolute mare. Obviously, Baku, I was on for a drive from the back and got puncher. And yeah, so it was just nice to finally actually win a race and just, put my nerves at rest, and hopefully I can just carry this momentum like I did last time.
You speak of the nerves, though, out on track. Those nerves must have been absolutely fever pitch going on to the final lap of the race with Jonas hunting you down.
Yeah, so obviously I went for softer so I could have the extra spare of soft tyres. So I knew I could take an extra couple laps at the end. But once I picked up, I picked up 2 warnings, and I was on 1 warning away from a penalty, and I was like, I knew Jonas was going to push in the last couple of laps. I was like, I'm going to have to push it, and if I pick up a warning, my life is going to just fall out of my body. Because I lost last season on a penalty to Gary by half a second, and I was fighting Jonas, and I was like, I'm not having this again. It's just not happening.
Needing a sense of deja vu, but luckily you came out on top. Your first win of the season as well, and that must do your chances possibly in the championship really good, because you were 12th coming into tonight, 30 points going on to your name. You're going to be, I think, within the top 10 of the standings, so you must feel very happy with that.
Yeah, I'm actually quite happy because I haven't done much practice in Mexico, and then I've got Brazil and Abu Dhabi, which, get my little pad out. I've got some pad pace. Hopefully I can do some damage and hopefully wind up Gary because I'm no longer his teammate. So.
And obviously, just speaking of that, in terms of you being former teammates, we saw in qualifying, you guys come out with about 3 minutes to go. Was there any opportunity for you to give Gary any slipstream or vice versa? Because it really didn't happen in the end.
Well, before tonight, me and Gary, quite friendly. We're like, I'll be your rear gunner. I'll help you when I can. Because obviously, I'm technically your teammate, really. I just on technicality aren't. And then he said something to me in a chat, and I was like, you know what, Gary, you're on your own. I'm not helping you. I'm not being your rear gunner. I'm going to go out and do this. And obviously, I went and did it whilst you just flustered around at the back.
You can't. You cannot do. You cannot give Gary the dirty. It's as simple as that. He's now going to be at you later on tonight, and he's not going to be very happy. Trust me. Michael, hand over to you. Any questions?
How does it feel for redemption after what happened last season?
Honestly, it was great. It was hard fought because, like I said, I was 1 warning away, and I was like, if I lose this now, then I'll probably lose it to Jonas and Gary. And I was like, I can't lose it to Gary again because he was like. Once I picked up the first penalty, he was like, "Oh, he's getting all excited." And I was like, "Gary, don't. It's not happening. It's just I'm not letting you have it. Okay, just no."
I bet you was absolutely sweating it that last couple of laps.
Oh my god! I was tempted just to take my hoodie off on the main straight. I was getting that hot. I was like, Jesus Christ, this is painful.
And of course, we mentioned T. Jonas pushing you all the way. I do have to mention about the turn 1. Was that just didn't think he was going to try and outbrake you, go around the outside, or?
So obviously I set my RS. I burned it. I went to the inside, and I was like, "Oh, he's way too far back." So I did what you normally do: you make one move, slowly move to the racing line, and I was roughly on the racing line, and then just break what I did. And to be fair, I felt no contact. So I was when I came out of turn 2 and 3, and I saw him so far back, I was like. He's either had an absolute tank slap or he's touched me, but I've not felt it. But yeah.
Somebody yawning there in the background. Brazil, of course, coming up next week. I want to be here to commentate on the action next week. Hopefully Dan gets his connection fixed. But going into Brazil, how is your chances going into there?
Well, we all know it's a pad track, and I'm on my good old, pad. All these people with their wheels, so I'm hoping I can just do what I do, get a decent quality, and for me, it's just quality. If I can nail quality, my race pace is usually pretty decent. So if I can get a good quality and just do my own thing, really, just don't pick up pens.
Yeah, you didn't convert into pole tonight, but you did convert an intra win, and that's what matters most. Go and enjoy your night, Ryan.
Oh, I will. Don't you worry.
We'll move on to the second place man, of course, and that was Jonas. And Jonas, first question to you is, you were really pushing Ryan right to the limit, essentially, in the final laps of the race. Did you at one point feel that you could get him?
Yeah, I thought so at the last lap. I felt like I had to run on him, and in a moment I thought that he went for the inside line, so I went for the outside. And after I started braking, he started to turn left, so I got pushed out. But so I felt that was very unlucky to have the final lap battle end that way, and I hope for a better fight. But it happens. Was a really positive one. I hadn't done a single lap before the race, so I was really just expecting to be a backmarker today, to be honest, and was really surprised that I had some pace and could keep up with the top guys. So yeah, I'm happy with my own performance, to be honest.
Yeah, you should be happy with the performance. Talk us through that race, though, because from your perspective, you were always going to be towards the top end of the field. But did you think you would be battling out on the final lap of the race?
I didn't. I was really struggling with tire wear, to be honest. I was planning on doing the soft, medium, soft, but I just realized that my tire wear was way too high, so I really just struggled to finish my soft, medium, medium, and I kind of looked more backwards than forwards at the last stint, but suddenly I started catching the guy ahead, so I realized that he might struggle for tire wear. I don't know, so yeah, I got a run on the lead, so yeah, more than what I could have expected.
Yeah, definitely. Mike, any questions?
Just the one. It seemed like the undercut, really propelled you into a possible race-winning situation. How early in the race did you make up in your mind that you was going to go for the mediums?
It was very late, actually. It was like on lap 20, I guess. I realized that I wouldn't be able to go to the softs at the end, so I just asked Isotopic if what do I do? I have so high tire wear. And he just told me to pit on the mediums, so I listened to him, and yeah, it. I don't think it was the optimal strategy. I wanted to be on the soft for them because they're really good, but yeah, my tire wear was too high today to manage it.
Yeah, fair play. And of course, towards the end, knowing that it's so easy to pick up penalties around you, you had Gary, I believe, was just within that 3 seconds of you, and Noisy as well on the back of Gary at that point. Did you? How close were you to that second penalty, if you were at all?
I think I was only one warning away, but I didn't really think about it. I just I tend to get penalties when I think about penalties, so I just try not to worry too much about them, and yeah, just focus on hitting my lines and trying to catch the guy ahead.
And of course,
Yeah,
you looking forward to next week, Brazil?
Yeah, hopefully I'll be there. To be honest, I haven't really been that much into it. This kind of had a lack of motivation to practice.
in P3 in maybe quite controversial circumstances. Noisy finishing in P3. Talk us through your race.
Well, first lap was shit lap, gotta admit. With Falk in the first few corners, yeah, like he just turned in on me, and yeah, then he got a bit rear loose, and I didn't expect him on my inside first of all, and then yeah, turned in a bit too early. But with last lap, I don't know what the fuck happened there, to be honest. Yeah, I was fair on the outside, and he just fully was standing in a corner and turned in on me. And in the next corner, he also turned in on me. I had no room left, and then on the small little straight, he just keeps turning in on me, and I eventually got wing damage from that as well. Not really the race I would have wanted to have, but yeah.
Yeah. I think you had like 38% damage, I think, at the end of the race on that front wing. And that battle with Gary you mentioned, just talk us through that, because it seemed to me as if one of you traded blows, the other one would just battle back. It was kind of like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was more like I think he just thought I was in a gap too far away because he also said that to me. But I was fairly alongside him. And yeah, just I think frustrations from that I took him out, his teammate out at the beginning of the race. But yeah, it's not really the race I really want to have, to be honest. I really hate races where it has to be like finalized in the steward's office.
Yeah, I've obviously seen the footage that's been put in, so obviously we'll leave that up to the stewards. But Third place for you, though. Is this the first time you've been on the podium this season? I haven't been commentating much on Division 2, so I might forget.
I got a second place in Britain as well, but second podium done so far.
That's not too bad. Really good going from you. Mike, any questions?
I was going to bring up you also finished on the podium last season at Mexico, so it seems to be Mexico a bit of a specialist track for you.
Yeah, I really like Mexico. Good flowing track. Really enjoy it.
And of course, the one thing that we brought up at the beginning of the stream was, of course, the constructors that could have been wrapped up tonight by Red Bull, but Alfa Romeo doing a great job on that to get to keep it going until next week at least. So, do you think about the constructors any chance of coming back in it, or do you think it's pretty much done?
I think it's pretty much done. I think we're just fighting for second right now. Red Bull really good on Scuba and Matt both to like pull such a mega gap already. I think it's already determined, and we're mostly focusing on P2 for the constructors.
Yes, and that shows with the battles that you've had with the Williams in this race. It seems like
Yeah.
Alfa Romeo and Williams just locked together.
Yeah, I'm just really like annoyed with that all people are blaming it on me but not see like from my point of view. Yeah, it's annoying.
James?
Yeah, I'm probably sure that the stewards will probably take a clear look at it, and hopefully it's a normal view as well that comes out of the stewards room. Going into Brazil though next week, second last race of the season. How do you think you're going to get on around there?
Well, as Ryan already said, it's pad track. I'm not on pad myself, so I don't really expect too much from it. I'm just trying to score consistently and try and help get that P2 for the constructors and maybe move up a little bit in drive standings as well. That's just my main focus for now.
Yeah, that'll be ideal, I think, moving forward. Go and enjoy your evening, though.
Thank you.
Very welcome. I've just calculated things up, by the way, for the constructors, and Red Bull on 313 points, Alfa Romeo on 218, 95 points I make it between them both at the minute. That's just me doing my maths. It could be wrong, it could be right, you never know. But in terms of that, 95 points, I don't think that's enough to wrap up the constructors. No. Had I confirmed in the background there. Brilliant. Thanks, Tom. But there we are. That is it then. Over and done with for TTML Division 2. And Mike, what a race it was. Talk us through from your thoughts that race, and who on earth was your driver of the day?
It was very hectic towards the end of the race. There was so much going on. It was hard to keep up. There were like 3 battles going on at once, 3 overtakes going on at the same time. It was very, very difficult to keep up with all the action. And honestly, I don't think this is matched up to the Singapore last week, which I'm going to maintain race of the season, Singapore last week. But this has definitely set up the final 2 rounds beautifully, with Gary closing in on Scuba a little bit more, and the battle between Alfa Romeo and Williams definitely getting a little bit spicy.
Alfa Romeo and Williams? Oh yeah, second and third in the constructors. Thinking to myself, you thought Williams was like top of the constructors there. That's my brain overthinking. Goodness me. As I said earlier on, Division 4 and Division 5 tomorrow night at 8 PM. Myself and Paco Suarez, Division 4. James Boyle and Pariah, Division 5. And of course, you can go and follow us on Twitter. At B52Head is my Twitter handle. And I believe you are at Arabrin Mike.
Yes, I am.
There we are. Perfect. And you can also follow the rest of our commentary team. You can follow the wonderful Mr. Tom Zaggers, of course, on Twitter. He's only using one arm at the minute. I've got to throw a caveat out there. He's using one arm because he broke his collarbone, sadly. And he's been one-armed pretty much throughout tonight, doing all the graphics. So please give your love and show your love to him in the comment section and on social media as well. That is it for tonight. My stint in Division 2 may be coming to an end, this season at least, but hopefully Daniel will be back next week to take you through the action alongside Mike, of course, for Division 2. But from myself, James Head, and from Michael Edwards, thank you so much for tuning in to TTML Division 2 this evening. Please stay safe in this crazy world we all live in, and we will see you next time.
About your stupid games. Come around. If you come around just to play me, don't bother, cause you ain't gonna do that. Don't even try to convince me. Don't bother, cause now I see you through. I want you to come over. I wish that you would come and give me something to prove. Won't you pull me closer? I think that I'm obsessed with everything that you do. I'm waiting, trying to be patient. You look like a painting. It's so frustrating. I hate it, yeah. I probably shouldn't say this. I probably should erase it. I probably shouldn't say this. I wanna be with you. If that's the last thing that I could do, I wanna be with you. If that's the last thing that I could do, call me a fan. I'm living, give me your hand. I'm in it, yeah. I wanna be with you. If that's the last thing that I could do. We've been making magic, and sometimes I get nervous but too good to believe. I don't know how it happened, but baby I'm ecstatic that you're sticking with me. I'm waiting, trying to be patient. You look like a painting. It's so frustrating. I hate it, yeah. I probably shouldn't say this. I probably should erase it. I probably shouldn't say this. I wanna be with you. If that's the last thing that I could do, I wanna be with you. If that's the last thing that I could do, call me a fan. I'm living, give me your hand. I'm in it, yeah. I wanna be with you. If that's the last thing that I could do. I wanna be with you. If that's the last thing that I could do, I wanna be with you. If that's the last thing that I could do.
This ain't what you want. This ain't what you want now. This ain't what you want. Who alive can't put me in a box. I redefine any definition you got. I am the tiger, I'm making steps to the top. The flames, I whip it up, you just gotta hand me the rock. Take a seat, you cannot stand it. All I know, the flow harder than a scotch bonnet. Don't try study me, you cannot manage. This ain't what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon. what you want.